Hi, it's Ian here. I got a bunch of questions in after yesterday's email about the survey we used to help define Kathy's pilot for her online training course, because it was very successful. In terms of numbers, about 15% of people on Kathy's subscriber list completed the survey, and of those, just under 25% of them immediately signed up and paid to be part of the pilot program. So as I say, it worked very well. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what the survey looked like and how we launched it, so you can kind of reproduce that or do something very similar in your own business if you're thinking of doing something the same. So there are two components. One is the invitation email, which is quite important, I think. This is the invitation email we send out. So the subject line was, "Can you help me?" And I think if you have added a lot of value, sent lots of useful material to your subscribers over time, then if you send out a subject line of "Can you help me?", people will actually be very willing and very glad to be able to help you. So then it just said hi, whatever the name was, brief introduction into the topic. I'm thinking of developing an online course on, etc., etc. It should only take 3 or 4 minutes and will really help me to design a great course for you. And that's an important line, because it says A, this won't take you very long, and B, I'm doing it to help you, to design a great course for you, so they can see what's in it for them, because if they help out, they'll get a good course designed for them. If you're able to help, you can find the survey here, and they can click through to the survey. We sent out a reminder about 3 or 4 days later. Kathy got a really good response early on. She was very surprised by it, so she was able to genuinely say she's kind of overwhelmed by the response. Thank you to everyone. There's still a couple of days left to finish the survey. So that's the actual survey itself. Now, the tool we used was Surveygizmo. I can't actually show you the survey live because we shut off the Surveygizmo account. And that's one of the nice things about Surveygizmo, is that even at the very basic month-by-month account, you can buy it just for 1 month and you get access to pretty much all the advanced features. Whereas with something like SurveyMonkey, if you want some of the advanced features like sending it to your own page to say thank you after the survey, you have to pay the kind of $400 a year premium gold type account rather than being able to buy it monthly. So we just use SurveyMonkey, and what I can show you is the questions from the survey. I've extracted these. I've not got all the responses because obviously they're confidential. But the first question we asked was, which of the following topics would you find the most useful in an online course on observation, assessment and planning? And we just had some tick boxes that they could fill in. That's the answers they gave. Now, the reason we opened with this simple question with just tick boxes is that I think it's good, and I don't claim to be a great expert in surveys, but they've always worked quite well for me, and I think it's useful to open with a simple question rather than opening with a really difficult open-ended question they have to think and scratch their heads and ponder, and many of them may kind of give up and click away. Give them something really easy to do on the very first question. They can just check a box or check a couple of boxes. They've succeeded, they've answered that question, and they get on a bit of a roll, and they're then much more likely to answer the trickier questions, the more thoughtful questions you give them later. And of course, if they only get as far as the first question, at least you've got some kind of quantitative guidance as to which are the most important areas to cover in the course. Now, we got a lot of others as well suggested, so there were a bunch of things came out of that as well. Next, we asked an open-ended question. If you had one big question about observation, assessment and planning you'd like the course to answer, what would it be? Please be as specific as possible. Now, this we're asking about questions here because I think, my experience anyway, is that it's difficult to ask people, what would you like in a course? It's difficult for people to imagine. People don't always know what they want, but what they certainly know is 2 things. They know the questions they have, so that's why we asked if you had one big question about observation, assessment and planning you'd like the course to answer, what would it be? And people will have questions about a topic, and it's fairly easy for them to say, my big question is this. The other thing people have is problems. So if you could say, what's the one big problem in area X that you'd like the course to solve? That's another good way of doing that. So I would always kind of lead in with a question on that about problems or questions, because they're more tangible and people know what they are, rather than saying, what would you what would you like your life to be in the future? What would you like the course to deliver to you? Now, the third question, we come at it at a different angle. We say, what would make the course valuable and successful for you? Actually, one further thing on question 2, we got a lot of open-ended answers to that, some of them very long and detailed. And I think I learned this from Glenn Livingston. Pay a lot of attention to the long, detailed answers, because that means people have invested a lot of time and energy into answering that question and typing in a kind of mini essay into the answer. Now, if that's the case, they're probably the people most likely to become customers and to buy the course. They care the most about it because they've typed the most. So really, if you had to choose between some of the answers answers as to what to base the course on, base it around the longer answers, because those are the answers that you're most likely to become customer people have put in. Question 3 what would make the course valuable and successful for you? It's coming at it from a different angle, and the sort of answers we got here were about the type of course. So we had answers saying, oh, lots of notes please that I can use, and kind of checklists and guidelines. We found a lot of people said it would be great if I could use the course to train other practitioners in my setting, and that was something we hadn't expected. So Kathy was able to add an extra module on that specifically so that people could use it to train the other people in their setting, and that would be really valuable for them. And then finally, we said, if you'd like to get a special discount code for the pilot of the course when I create it, please enter your email address here. So what that did is it established this is a paid course, because you don't get a discount on a free course, and it got people to register their interest. And out of the people who answered, it was probably about 90% of people who answered the survey put in their email address. Those were the people we then emailed when we come up with, or when Kathy had come up with the details of what the course was going to be about, to ask them if they'd like to take part in the pilot. And as I said, about 25% of them, just under 25%, within a few days had signed up and paid to take part in the pilot. So, in summary, have a simple email that goes out to and ask for people's help. Reassure them it's going to be just a couple of minutes to complete the survey, and what the benefits they'll get, what's in it for them, a great course designed for them. Lead and open up with a simple question they can easily answer to get them into it and get them on a roll, and that gives you some numbers. Always try and have a quantitative question in there, I like. Ask them about problems and questions early on, because they know those. They know what problems they have. They know what questions they have. Ask them a question that comes at it from a different angle, like what would make this valuable to you, and you'll get suggestions about the type of course rather than just the content. And then say, if you'd like a discount code for the pilot when it comes out, please enter your email address here. And that essentially tells you who are the most interested people who you should then offer the pilot to. And we didn't need to offer the pilot to Kathy's wider email distribution list. It was filled straight away from the list of people who'd filled in their details here. That's it. Hope that's helpful to you. I think you can adapt this type of simple survey to pretty much any sort of business you might want to be running a training course on or something like that, with very similar questions. Cheers.